Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. What's going on? You know who it is. It's your boy, Big Tank Hank, coming at you with a new live stream just in my Hawaiian fish keeper face mask right here. It's about to go down, y'all, because in the house we have none other than the Hawaiian fish keeper, Mel Morosco. We've been trying to get this together for a while. And he so graciously hit me up and said, Hank, let's do it. And we're here. Let me bring him up for y'all. Bow, bow. What's going on, man?
Hey, aloha, big Hank. What's up, my brother? Aloha,
Oh,
ohana.
man. Chilling, I'm
Aloha.
chilling.
Good times.
How's
I'm
it been?
glad.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad we got this together. We've been talking for months now. So I'm glad we hooked it up. Friday opened up. Normally I'm busy with my son's basketball schedule and high school, but high school season came to an early stop for them. So as soon as it stopped, like I promised you, man, I said, hey, I'm gonna hit you up, and so I did, and we made it work, and here we are, man. That's cool, man.
Most definitely. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
man.
I'm excited.
Dude, I'm
All
honored, man.
right.
Thank you for inviting me, man. No
No
problem.
problem.
Shoot.
All right. Let me see who we got over here in the chat. Hey, y'all. Today we're going to have a question and answer. Remember, capitalize your letters. Put at the beginning of which one of us you want to ask the question so we can see it and I highlight it. We can address your questions. Let me see. Isis Alexander, my wife, she's in the house. Craig Doniger, what's going on, sir? Thunder Aquatics, what's going on? Melvin Reeve, Melly Mel, brother from another mother, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing? Renee, thank you for coming through, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Surf City Cichlids, how do? How do? Hey, y'all, like and share. Get this out to your people so they can come in and ride with us. Now, brother, everybody should know you, but just in case some of those people watching on the replay or maybe listening to it on the podcast once I drop it over there, introduce yourself to them. Give a brief little old rundown of who you are and bring them up to present.
All right, no problem, Big Hank. So, aloha, everybody. My name is Mel Morosco, aka the Hawaiian Fish Keeper. Man, what can I say? I live in California, Northern California, Sacramento area to be exact. Gas prices are expensive out here, guys. I don't know if you saw my story on Instagram, but
Ooh.
I just looked at the price of gas in California, and it was $5.34, and I put 9 gallons of gas. It was $54 or something
Mm.
crazy, and I was like, "What's going on?" I could have swore last week it was $1 cheaper, like $4 or something. And I don't know. It was just weird. Anyway, so I'm out here in California by way of Hawaii. Grew up, born, raised on the island of Oahu, and moved to the mainland when I was about 8 years old. And then when I moved to the mainland with my parents, we lived in Southern California. So that's where I kind of grew up. Then I moved here to Northern California, Sacramento area, about 2002, and been here ever since. And we're here at what, 2022 now. Jeez, time's flying.
Right,
And
right,
so, yeah, that's pretty much who I am, where I'm from right now.
right. When did you come into the hobby, or how the whole little transition now?
Okay, so like a lot of us in the hobby, came, at a very young age. So leaving Hawaii, which is like the most beautiful aquarium in the world, right? We got the beaches there in Hawaii. There, we get to see the fish. We're snorkeling, we're fishing, not with poles. We would fish with like either spear, like the gun spears, and or we would go trolling with the nets with with the boat. So and then we would reel in the nets from the shore, and then we would separate the fish. But like the ocean's, that's a lifestyle for me, right? And so when we moved to the mainland, I want to say it was, obviously it was in the 80s and aquariums were kind of big. And, the whole family started to collect aquarium. Like they would get aquariums, and we were fascinated by and saltwater wasn't a really big thing yet. It was more freshwater because it was simple. And I remember the family, like my uncles and aunts, they would all have these aquariums, and like the bigger the aquarium, the cooler it was, obviously, right? But we got, I think, a 30-gallon tank, knew nothing about it. All we knew is like we can have fish in this glass box, and this is cool. And this is like kind of part of our, our lifestyle, right? To have these fish. And so when I was about I take that back, 8. When I was about 8, 9 years old is when we had our aquarium. And I think we had like this is us, right? I don't want to say dumb Hawaiians, but I can say we're dumb Hawaiians. We go to the fish store and we're like, oh yeah, let's get that one. That one looks cool. That one looks. So we had like an Oscar and a betta and like a glass catfish, and we all picked the fish out. So that was our family thing, our family trip to the fish store, and we all get to pick a fish out. So my dad would be like, all right, pick a fish, and there's 4 of us, right? Because I have a brother, and so we all pick something different, and they would last for about a week, and then they would die. And the only thing that was living was an Oscar. And we're like, wow, that's so cool. That fish can live. And next thing you know, we're looking and we don't see any other fish. And we didn't know what we were doing, obviously. And some of them died because the nitrogen cycle wasn't complete. And then the Oscar managed to live, and we had him for like the longest time. And then he ultimately jumped out of the aquarium. We didn't have a lid on it. That's how we were so new to this. We just figured, we can put these fish in this aquarium, and that's cool. This is so cool. We can see the fish. And instead of watching TV back in the day, we would just sit there in front of the aquarium and just watch it. And then when the fish die, we'd go back to the fish store and be like, hey, we're going to get 4 more fish, and stock that with whatever fish that we liked, we would get. They were small, they weren't huge, but they were just the wrong fish, together. You're not supposed to have those combinations of fish, So when we would watch the fish chase each other around, we thought it was cool. We're like, whoa, look at that. My fish is going to beat your fish up. You know what I mean? And then they would win. It was almost like gladiators, right? And we're watching these fish chase each other around. And I can't remember who had the Oscar. It might have been my mom, but my mom's fish ate everybody. Like she was the winner. We're like, man, you're the grand champion, Mom. Your fish is the best. And it was just it was nuts. So got into that. And then over the years, my dad just got tired of the aquarium. And it was so funny because I remember helping him clean the aquarium out, where he would take all the fish out, put it in a little bowl, and he would dump everything out and clean all the gravel out, just kill all the beneficial bacteria, clean it out spotless, put all the gravel back in, and then fill it back up. We used the chlorinator. We learned about that later, though, and put the fish back in, and they're all swimming weird and having trouble. After like a day or two, ammonia spikes and all. It was just nuts. And then I want to say I got back into it when I was about 30 is when I got back into it. So the transition stage was 8 years old, probably till about 12. And then I got back into it and went, pretty much balls out when I hit 30 years old. And I was like, then I had, started out with a 30-gallon tank, something simple in there. I think some smaller Mbuna African cichlids. And that was like my favorite fish. And then I just told myself, hey, I'm going to get a bigger tank. And then I was in the transition of moving, and, it was just that's how it took off. And then from then on, it just got into it deep, and then started following people on YouTube and seeing that, wow, there's a whole community out there, just like we all did. We find YouTube, and it was like, a whole new world. So that was super cool. And then that's kind of like how things got started. That's my origin right there. That's the beginning.
That's cool. That's cool. Shout out. Johnny Johnson is in the house. And he says, my grandmother, Ethelene Johnson, is watching. Hey, Granny. All right. All right. Now, at present, how did you get into specifically your koi love? How did you get into?
Man, so I always loved koi. Never ever thought in a million years that I would ever keep them because I knew how big they got. So, but always thought in the back of my mind, wow, it would be so cool to have koi. Never thinking I would ever keep them in an aquarium. Not at all. Even small ones, I never thought. I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep a koi. I knew they were always an outdoor pond type of fish. So it got to a point where I started to go through that multiple tank syndrome, right? One tank, two tank, three tanks. I was hiding. I would hide them from my wife. So like this tank right behind me is 120 gallons, but down below it's got enough space to put 2 10 gallons and possibly 2 20-gallon tanks if I wanted to, right? And so that's what I was doing. I would grab a 10-gallon tank somewhere, I'd put it in here and like throw some guppies or something small. And then it started to, I had another 20-gallon tank that it was so funny because I bought like this little nightstand, put the tank on top of it. I built this wood like shelf cover to cover it. And I put like some kind of fixture on it to make it look like it was like an end table. So my wife wouldn't notice it. Like she's not going to notice something, a new piece of furniture in the house that didn't make sense. And then you lift this like wood box and there's an aquarium under it. Right. So it was to me, I thought it was genius, but to her, it was corny. She's like, what is that there? Why did you build that? It was makeshift. Right. And I'm like, oh yeah. So then she's just like, this is getting out of control. What are you doing? She's like, no more tanks. I don't want to see him. And she's not a big fish tank person, which I respect, And so she knew it made me happy. She knew it was a passion of mine, And so I thought, well, the next best thing is let's start digging a hole in the backyard and see where it goes. So I started digging a hole in the backyard, and that's when Tiki Falls developed. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to put some koi back here. And I kept digging and digging and digging and digging and, going on YouTube and checking it out and seeing how I can make my own DIY pond, and bought some cheap pond liner over at the Home Depot. And, I made it. It was about 400 gallons. And I managed to buy like my first 2 koi at a local fish store here. And then it was all, I don't even want to say if it was downhill from there, but it was all uphill from there. Now I'm, expanded Tiki Falls to Tiki Falls 2.0, and then it went to 3.0, and now we're waiting for 4.0, which is going to be it went from 400 gallons to about 800 gallons, and now it's going to be about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons. So it's a big project. I'm hoping to break ground. Well, not hoping. We are going to break ground this spring once it starts to be more consistent with the weather. No more rain. It just rained yesterday and today. So, or last night, I should say. So it's hard to even work in that. It's just the ground gets it's like a clay base ground. So it's super thick and nasty to work in. So we just got to wait for it to be a little bit more consistently warm and, not rain on us so we can start. It's going to be a big project. I'm excited, but I'm also not looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of work. It's not like I'm hiring a contractor, right? So I got a good friend of mine named Dennis who's going to help me. He does have access to an excavator, so we're going to use that. And yeah, you guys are going to be able to see that develop on the channel, And then I kind of worked out a little deal with the wife, and we're going to convert the garage. She's giving me the garage to convert it into Tiki Lounge, which is going to be my fish room. So I'm looking forward to that. She's looking forward to that because the deal is all the aquariums in the house are going to go into the garage, and she's going to have her house back, as she would say. But this tank, I think I'm going to leave it in here, though. I like this tank. It's a kind of a display tank here in the living room. So I'm going to leave this tank here, but everything else, it's a lot going on. A lot of projects, a lot of projects means a lot of money that I don't have. So I'm working in little small increments. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can get that little section done over there. Oh, I got $50 extra here. I'm going to go get a couple panels for the wall in the garage, things of that sort. So, yeah, that's kind of like what's going on. And as far as the koi goes and the above ground pond where I have them all in right now, because all of Tiki Falls 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, it's all broken down. Okay. I managed to inherit my aunt's above ground pond. She passed away, and the family was going to give this above ground pond, they were just trying to get rid of it. And I happened to go over there to get something for my wife, and they were going to move it. And I go, hey, who's going to take this? Because she had koi in this pond. And somebody already came and picked up all the koi, which were beautiful koi. I wish I could have kept them just to honor her, you know? And they go, well, oh, we don't know. Do you want it? And I go, are you serious? I would love to have it. And being that it was, you know, my wife's aunt, my wife didn't mind at all. It needed to be, you know, redone a little bit, but I got the frame. I think she paid somebody to build it, which I feel she got ripped off. They charge her like $5,000 to build this this pond, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she got ripped off. But you know, she didn't know. So I inherited the above ground pond. I called up my buddy Dennis, who's mechanically inclined, like he knows, you know, how to build things, and he goes, dude, we can make something cool out of this. And I go, really? So I said, have at it. Let's do it. He came over. We built the above ground pond. We moved all the koi and goldfish into that as a staging area, so we can work on the big pond, Tiki Falls 4.0. So the above ground pond right now is doing great. I just picked up, this is a sneak peek. All right, Hank, this is a sneak peek for your channel. I just picked up a couple koi today. It's going to be a video that's going to drop on Sunday. And they're gorgeous koi that I picked up. They're actually from a breeder from Hawaii. So it's from the motherland. So I had to get these. And so my boy Troy is his name. I call him Troy Koi. He had these 2 koi that he wanted to give me 9 months ago. I didn't have room for him yet. And he said, let me grow these guys out. I want to give you these 2. They're called Showa. And I'm like, no way. Yeah, Showa koi. And so they're like red, black, and white koi. And they come from a real reputable koi breeder in Hawaii. And so the bloodline, the parents are it's a high quality koi. So I was just floored when I found out that he was going to give me 2. And he, you know, had me pick out 2. And so I went to his house, I picked them up, and they're in the above ground pond right now. One of them, I don't want to say is aggressive, but one of them is super active and is jumping. And I don't want any fish to jump out of the above ground pond, because if they jump out, obviously they're eventually going to die. So I had to put a net over it just for safety reasons. But yeah, the above ground pond right now is beautiful. And I can't wait to transfer all the fish to their new home once Tiki Falls 4.0 is built. But yeah, my love for koi, I don't want to say it's like I love all of my fish. It's so funny. It's like I have these emotional connections to all of them, right? This tank behind me, you know, my ocellaris peacock bass, and you know, I got my longfin Oscar and Lamont, my albino Oscar. Love these guys. And then you move into the kitchen over there, and I love that aquarium. I'll sit there. Then you go over to that room, and I look. So you like have all these different connections. I go outside. I forget about all the aquariums in the house, and it's all about my koi and feeding them. And so it's my happy place, you know. And I don't
definitely understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we talked a little bit, but like I coach basketball, right? So it's like that's another passion of mine, right? So I coach high school boys. I also coach a group of 4th graders. I run my own basketball program. And when you're in pressured situations, you got to make calls, scenarios. You got yelling parents, whistles blown by the referees, coaches, you know, the scenarios, the pressure. And then you're done with that. I come home, and this is my relaxation, my tanks, my aquariums, water changing. You know, it's my happy place. Therapeutic. I come in here, relax, feed my fish, look at them, talk to them like we all do. How you guys doing? Hey, what's up, buddy? And then, you know, then it's, you know, the next day back to war again at the gym with, you know, 10 players, a coach, referees, parents yelling, and it goes right back. It's a yin and a yang for me. You know, it's a balance. It's a nice balance for me, and it works. So,
hey man, most definitely. I can identify with the happy place. Now the water change, I'm still not happy about the water change, but they have to be done.
I have my moments. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, it's a great day for water changing. No, it's I'll keep it real. It's still like, oh, I gotta change this water, man. I know I have to. It's going on 8 days. I need to do it. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, I have those moments, but once I get started, it's like, oh, you feel happy. You're like, oh, look at my fish. They're happy. They got some fresh water in there. You know, start talking to them. Then you're like, oh, I'm glad I did this.
Right, all perky, brand new fish. Yeah, most definitely, most
They
definitely.
got some water. We're good.
Hey, do you have any plans on when you get 4.0 running and you distribute your koi back into that one? Are you going in your above ground? Are you gonna have like maybe specific types of fish in it?
Okay, listen, hey, that's a great question. I'm gonna be honest. I'm turning into a koi snob. All right. So like what I mean by that is I've noticed just with dealing with koi over the past year, huge difference between import koi imported from Japan and domestic koi that are raised here in the United States. Huge, huge difference, man. And the quality, I just learn a lot from, koi breeders, from distributors, going to koi farms and visiting them. My buddy Anthony over at Koi Enterprise in West Sacramento. My boy Brian Fitz Fish Ponds all the way in New Jersey. I just learned so much from their channels and from them. Aquascape guys too that I learned. And when I see the koi, I'm just like, oh man, I'm turning into a koi snob. So I want to say that I'm done buying domestic koi out of the local fish stores and buying them from breeders now that I have a connection with them. Because you can get smaller ones at a reasonable price, and they have auctions and they have all these different options for us small time buyers like myself. I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on a koi. And some of these koi I've seen from a breeder, $100,000. And these are grand champion kois. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're selling, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
these are big, like I want to say million/billionaires that are buying these koi collections for their ponds. I am not that league. That's not my lane. And so my lane is like between 50 and maybe $150. That's my lane. Like 150 is stretching it. You know what I mean? Like I gotta save. But knowing different, koi breeders and not koi breeders, but koi farms out here that receive imported koi, and they'll actually buy a bunch of smaller ones. And of course, the smaller ones are cheaper. I'm learning not to really pick them out, but just connecting with them and talking with them. And, certain koi that I like, the colors, and they explain them to me, like, the Sankis and the Showas and the Ogons and just all the terms, the Goshikis. And, I'm learning from them and their colors and their meanings and their origins. And it's fascinating to me. So I get into that. And then I start to become the koi snob. So I just kind of, even though they're still pretty, I still shun them, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so like, it's like imported cars, you know what I mean? You got like a Bugatti, and then you got something that's made in America, like a Ford. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a difference between those cars, So it's the same thing with koi. It's the same thing with like, you compare them to like dogs. You got an AKC certified dog, you know what I mean? Like a German Shepherd. And then someone selling a German Shepherd mix outside of like Walmart, you know what I mean? For $40. Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's the papers and it's the bloodline. I don't have koi with papers, like, but I am getting koi that are being imported from Japan from reputable Japanese breeders. And so the longevity of the fish, the size of the fish, the bloodline, the health of the fish is going to be a better quality versus quantity. But you can find some gems at local fish stores. I bought numerous ones that I don't want to get rid of because they're like they remind me where I came from. You know what I mean? Like the first 2 koi I ever bought, I still have them. Thank God. They didn't pass away. I still have them, and they're beautiful koi. And they're the ones that, even though I'm getting these koi that are from bloodlines and from, Japan, they still mean a lot because it's that connection I had. They're the OGs in my pond, and I'll never get rid of them. So they'll be with me as long as I can keep them. But kind of like from here on out, I don't want to buy any more domestic koi. I want imported koi at a reasonable price, right? The bigger, the more expensive. I'll buy a fish like that for $60 on an auction that I actually won. So there are cheap ways of, getting really nice koi from, Japan at a cheap price. And so on my channel, I talk about it, and I give the links out to, Sacramento Koi, or not Sacramento Koi, but Koi Enterprise in West Sac that has an online auction, and he will ship the koi to you anywhere in the United States. So, and like I said, he'll probably put like a dozen different koi, and some of the fish will start at a bidding price of $40 to $50, and you can watch it just like at eBay, something like eBay, but it's all koi, and you can just wait on it, and then the last 50 seconds or so you can start making your bid, and it's fun, it's exciting. If you're competitive like me, like I'll give you a story. There was a butterfly Tancho Kohaku koi, which is an all-white koi with a red circle on its head. Now that koi is a super popular koi, and so it was one that I've always wanted, and I didn't understand why it was so popular and people wanted that koi, at least one of them in their pond. It's because it represents the Japanese flag, because it's all white with the red circle. So that's why I was like, oh, I get it. That's kind of cool. So I want one of those. So there was one on auction. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get that one. And I think it was like at $120. And I'm gonna wait to the last 30 seconds and bid $175 and score. So I waited. Time was coming. I'm watching the time, and I submit my bid at 175, and it was at 120. So I got a nice little cushion, and I hit send, and I'm like, yes, I think I got it. And it came back saying I lost. And I'm like, how is that possible? So I guess the guy who bid, I was talking to Anthony, who runs it, right? Who runs Koi Enterprise. He said, hey, listen, I go, dude, I was so hurt. I was so I was almost in tears. I was at the gym working out when this was going down. It just put me in a bad mood. I'm like, I wanted that koi so bad. I waited 6 days to bid on that koi, and it didn't go my way. And I was like, who beat me, man? I'm so competitive. I dropped $175 on that thing thinking I was going to win it for sure, and I didn't get it. And so I was like, who won this? And I told Anthony, I go, man, I was so distraught. I was like so mad I lost. He goes, hey, listen, let me tell you something now. I'll take your pain away. You wouldn't have won. And I'm like, what do you mean I wouldn't have won? He goes, you wouldn't have won that koi. I go, why? He goes, because I know the guy who won, he has a lot of money and he's a big koi collector, and you weren't going to win. I go, oh, so he had a reserve price of $500. So I wasn't going to win anything. So I go, oh, that made me feel a lot better. I'm like, okay, I thought it was somebody that I was just competing against, some guy named Joe.
And he went $1 up on you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that dude, he got it for $176. You know what I mean? But no, I was competing against a big dog. So I realized, oh, this isn't my lane. You know what I mean? So I take it with a grain of salt when I bid. But I did win a goshiki for $60. And I was like, it was one of the fish that I've always wanted to get. So the goshiki is like a deep orange or red with a gray body. So it stands out. The colors pop. And I actually won it. So I was super excited. And yeah, that's kind of like I just want to let people know that you can buy some really good imported koi at a reasonable price. Like I bought that goshiki for $60. And then, when I went down there to go get it, he didn't have to ship it to me because I'm here not that far. It's about an hour drive. Drove down, looked at all of his koi collection, did a couple videos on his farm, and managed to find a Tancho Kohaku, a beautiful white with the perfect red circle. And he gave me a really good deal on it. And I got two of the fish that I've always wanted. And, and thanks to Anthony over at Koi Enterprise, he just created a monster, man. And now I'm just like, I can't get enough. I want to get this koi pond built. I want to get some more koi that I want. And I have a list of certain koi that I want. And I'll sit and wait until I can get them. It's not a problem. But I'm learning my lane in this koi industry. And it's not top tier, that's for sure. So, but what I do is, if I like it, I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing. If you like the way it looks, hey, to each his own. Go get it. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how much. I mean, it doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't like it. Hey, if that koi or that fish, you like the way it looks, get it. So that's kind of like the whole koi experience I'm going through right now.
Oh, yeah, I really like koi. I just don't have room. I had one irresponsibly. I bought one at local, fish store, koi, labeled koi. It's not like I went in, hey, you sold me this goldfish as a koi and I'll grew my tank. No. And I ended up rehoming it, after a while. Beautiful white koi with the big scales. I don't even know what you call it, but like with the oversized scales on it.
Yeah.
And
I think they're called I think it's called Doitsu, if I'm not mistaken. And they're like, they almost look scaleless, but they have that design of like those big, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had it for a while. Then it was, I said, man, you know better than this. It's small, you bought it at the local place. It's small, but don't do it. Don't even do it.
No, there's a lot of people that keep koi in aquariums, and you can. And then when they start to grow out, you can always take them back to the LFS. Normally, the local fish store will take them back, or someone will, will pick them up from you or something like that. I mean, I don't want to tell people not to keep koi in aquariums. So there's a lot of people that do, and then when they start to get big, you're like, oh, I think this tank is a little too small for them. Then you can do the alternative and take them back to your local fish store. 90% of the time they will. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll give you store credit. Yeah. I've built a nice relationship with all the local fish stores, and I'm super blessed and fortunate to live by so many. There's like 8 or 9 different local fish stores in the area that I have access to, where I get to go in and make content, and I have a great relationship with the owners and the managers. And when I do fish rescues, I'll take those fish to them. So I built, I build a nice rapport, a nice relationship with them. And sometimes I'll just drop the fish off and not ask for anything. You know what I mean? And I think like the first couple trips is kind of like what I do. Here you go. Here's some clown loaches that are in beautiful condition. And they're just like, wow, thank you. Do you need anything? And I'm like, no, I'm good. So I built that little relationship with them. And then when I come back in to shoot a video, which they love, it's free marketing for them. And you just build a nice relationship. So when I do happen to see a fish that I want, and I'm always down to support all my local fish stores, I'll go in there and, oh man, I see like a couple angelfish that I want to get for my mother-in-law for her aquarium. I'll grab those. I'll take a couple of those, go up to the counter and go to pay for them. And they're like, hey, don't worry about it, Mel. We got you. And I'm like, wait, what? You know what I mean? I get blown away, and I'm just like, but dude, those are $40 angelfish, man. That's like, are you sure? And they're just like, hey, you do a lot for us. And I'm like, thank you so much. I never take advantage of my local fish stores. I'm always willing to pay. But it's just like a barter. You know what I mean? You come in, you rub their back, and they take care of you. And that's when you can, and all of my local fish stores, for the most part, they really hook me up. It's not always I get free fish. So don't get it wrong. Like, I don't just walk in and go, oh, let me get some fish for free. Sometimes I pay full price. Sometimes they give me a little discount, and sometimes they'll just give them to me. But if I have a big fish rescue that I go and rescue fish, and I'm going to go to my local fish store, they'll say, you know, and I do need food, like food, or I need the chlorinator for my aquariums. They're like, yeah, go grab yourself a bottle and grab the big bottle, you know. And I'm like, wow, really? I can get this big bottle of Prime? They're like, yeah. And then I'll grab a couple bags of fish food for my, you know, my babies, and it's good. You know, everybody, they're making money, and I don't mind helping them. You know what I mean? Especially with when you know things were going kind of crazy with COVID, and it was as a content creator, we were still good. You know what I mean? Like fish stores were considered a priority store. I forgot even the term that they used, and so local fish stores were
essential.
There you go, essential. That's what it was. That was an essential store, and I'm like, cool, man. For us fish keepers in the hobby, and as a YouTube creator, I'm like, oh, business as usual. We can keep doing this content. I mean, you got to wear a mask and you might be a little muffled, but hey, we can still continue to make content. So I'm glad they made the local fish stores essential. So that worked out for me anyways. And yeah, it was super fun, man. It's awesome. A lot of people will ask me, how can I get money from my local fish stores? How do you do that? And like, I always tell them, you got to build a relationship with your local fish store managers, owners. Don't expect things, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, like bring in gifts for them. You know what I mean? Like if you got some fish, you know, they won't forget. Trust me, they won't forget you. But I think the most important thing is to build that relationship. That's the most important thing. And then once you build that relationship and establish a trust and a friendship, and then you could, you know, slowly start to, hey man, I'm going to go rescue some fish. Did you guys want them? You know, I got, whether it be, you know, a couple Oscars that are in great health and this, that, you kind of go down the list, a clown knife. I mean, they'll be like, heck yeah, bring them by, you know, and then you can work out store credit. You can work out, you know, whatever deals, or maybe, you know, maybe cash for it, you know. But my whole thing is just building that relationship with your local fish stores.
Most definitely. Let's see, can we feel that question right there? What is the best fish to keep in a 10-gallon? Adventures with Mikey.
Oh, Mikey, that's so funny. Hey, what's up, Mike? Aloha, brother. He actually sent that to me in one of his comments on one of my videos. And I'm planning on doing a video for you, Mike, just so you know. For me, like I said, it's such a loaded question. There's so many options for a 10-gallon tank. Anywhere from a betta and maybe 5 or 6. In my tank, I have those Galaxy Danios. Oh, love those. The Celestial Danios. Oh, those things are beautiful. 10-gallon tank. You can do like pistogrammas. Those are beautiful fish. Some pistos, maybe a breeding pair in a 10-gallon aquarium. Guppies, beautiful guppies. I mean, are you kidding me? You can go guppy crazy in a 10-gallon tank. You know, they'll breed for you. You know, you can start, you know, separating all the fry and have fun with the 10-gallon tank. Yeah, there's a lot of options. I mean, I love the gold cloud minnows. I think those are a beautiful fish for a 10-gallon tank too as well. Super underrated fish. Love them. Yeah, there's a lot of different options, Mike. So, you know, I don't want to say I definitely stay away from Oscars. That would be a nice little grow out tank for about 6 months, maybe. You know what I mean? But you can use those aquariums for those bigger fish, but they grow fast. Big, fast too, you know. So that would be my suggestion.
Right. Lonnie, still in you. Welcome. The Fish Keeper, welcome in. And everybody that came in late, how y'all doing? And thank you for being here. Hey, and those gold barbs, man, you kind of focused me on some gold barbs, man. That's a good looking. That's a good looking fish.
Oh, yeah. Man. The metallic gold barb. That's another fish that I love. A super underrated fish. Not that many people keep them. The special thing about the metallic gold barbs is you don't need a heater. Like you can have them in your house in a tank without a heater. They do well in 65, 60-degree water. They cold, and they
Okay.
do perfectly fine. And yeah, super. I mean, don't get me wrong, they would love a heater, but they don't need it. You know what I mean? They're not going to be lethargic. I kept them outside during the summer in a water feature that I had that I converted into like a mini pond. And so, yeah, the metallic gold barbs are a beautiful aquarium fish. I bought, I think, 5 of them for my mother-in-law's aquarium that she has. And yeah, those fish, they pop. Those colors, the detail, they have little black speckles, a little bit of orange, and then that yellow, that gold, comes in strong. Yeah, metallic gold barbs, guys.
Thank you very much there, Still in you. Thank you for that super chat, sir. Appreciate you. Didn't you take that fountain down in the front?
I did. So that fountain was given to me by a friend of mine, and he spent lots of money on it because it was a water feature fixture, right? And so I think it was like $900 he paid for this thing. It was super heavy. It was kind of made out of like this rock stone. It was very sleek, modern looking, right? Something that you would see in somebody's backyard as a display. And it had a nice little water flowing down into a basin. The basin was about 30 gallons of water. And he said, "Hey, do you want this?" And I go, because he was getting his backyard redone. And I go, "Really? You just want to give this to me?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I just want it out of here." I go, "Dude, this thing is beautiful." And right off the bat, as fish keepers, if it holds water, we're going to think of how can I make a filtration system and make this thing work? So it had a pump, which it sat in the base of the this water feature. It pumped the water up the hose to the top, and the top overfilled, and then kind of just streamed down into the water base or the basin. And so I said, I'm going to get a big sponge and stick it in front of that pump that's sucking in the water. That'll be mechanical filtration there. I'll put some lava rock at the top as, biological media. And that thing worked out awesome. I had goldfish in there, some lionhead goldfish, metallic gold barbs. I did guppies in there at one point. I stuck a heater in there to heat that water during the winter time, which the water temperature would drop down. Ooh, man, if the heater wasn't working, it could drop down into the 30s, right? So I would have a heater geared towards a 75-gallon tank that was in a 30-gallon water basin outside and just crank that up 100%. And it stayed during the winter at about 63 degrees. So the gold cloud minnows were fine. The goldfish were fine. A lot of goldfish can handle colder water, but it wasn't freezing to where it was dropping under 50. You know what I mean? It always stayed at a good 65 degrees, 63. And that was a fun project. As the hobby progressed for me, I was into my pond in the backyard. I said, this water feature is cool. I think I'm going to give it away. So I was going to sell it at first because I was going to use the money to help build to put into Tiki Falls 4.0. So I did a video on it, and I said, "Hey guys, I'm going to give the Ohana, which I call all my subscribers, I'm going to give you guys first choice. First person to hit me up on Instagram down in the DMs can have this thing." And someone contacted me ASAP and came down and picked it up. He took it all as is. It's still going. I'm going to actually do a video update on it. I'm going to go to his house because he has it. He's got the same lionhead goldfish in there, the metallic gold barbs that are in there. And yeah, he's having fun with it. And so, yeah, I gave it to a subscriber, and it's going to be fun to go back and see it. And so, yeah, we'll have an update video on that for sure, though. But as far as me having it, I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
It was fun.
Let everybody know the tank behind you there, what's in it, and the long fin Oscar.
Yeah, this guy.
I don't get to see a lot of them.
Yeah, he's right here.
Here in Texas, I really don't.
Shoot, I'm like going backwards here. Yeah, he's right here. There you go. So that is, we'll start with him. He's a long fin tiger Oscar. His name is Big Black. Christopher Big Black Boykins, named after Robin Big on MTV.
Robin Big, yeah.
Yeah, so check this out. His story is really cool. So he was a rescue. I got called from one of my friends, one of my wife's friends, and she said, hey, there's a guy that's moving to Georgia and has this big fish in this small tank. She knew nothing about fish. She just said, big fish, small tank. And I go, do you know what kind of fish it is? She goes, I think it's an Oscar. And I go, oh, okay. I don't really have room for it. She said, hey, listen, I will help you buy an aquarium. I'll buy an aquarium. I'll give you $100 to look for an aquarium for this fish. She's like, I just feel bad for him. And I go, wow, she knows nothing about the hobby. So if somebody that knows nothing about the hobby is feeling sorry for a fish in a tank, something must be up. So I go, okay, sounds great. I said, if you're willing to help, that's awesome because I don't have a tank right now. So I went looking on Facebook Marketplace. I found a 60-gallon tank, I believe I think they wanted $100. It was the tank. It was a great deal. It was the stand, cover, everything. And I picked it up. I picked up that fish. When I went down there, it was in a 20-gallon tank. This dude right here, in a 20-gallon tank. So like he literally he could turn around, but he would have to bend his body, obviously. He was definitely longer than the width of the tank, 10-gallon tank. He's about he's like 16 inches. He's a big dude. And so he's in this 10-gallon tank, just like it's still just staying there. And I go, is he alive? I go, gosh, that's a small tank. It was in his kitchen on the counter. And there was a gourami in there with him. And it was a gold gourami, which I'm like, what? And it was like literally his buddy. He was like right next to his mouth. And I'm like, dude, he can eat that fish so easy. He goes, oh, I had these two fish in here for a year. And I'm like, a year? So this poor guy could not even like spread his little wings and fly and swim around, you know? And so, I didn't shame him at all. I said, oh, hey, I'm glad I'm here to get this bad boy. So we got him in the tote, brought him home, got him set up. And that's where I was like thinking of a name. What can I call these two? I kept them together. He did not attack. He never attacked them. And they would eat together. And it was just the weirdest thing. Like I would feed him like frozen shrimp. No, was it frozen brine shrimp? What was it? Brine shrimp? No, it was a type of shrimp I was feeding. I would break it off in pieces, throw it in there. He loved it. He would eat it. All the small particles would come out of his gills. And then Rob, who I called Rob, the gold gourami, would go there and pick it all up, right? And so I didn't come up with that name. My wife did. She goes, why don't you call him Robin Big? And I go, oh my gosh, that is hilarious. I love that. So they became Robin Big. They were a channel favorite because everybody was so shocked that the gold gourami, which was about yay big, was next to this huge Oscar that could just swallow him whole if he wanted. And I kept him together for the longest time. And then I felt that, hey, maybe if I add another gourami, he'll be fine. He'll be okay, So I added another gourami, and Big didn't actually chase the other gourami. It was a paradise gourami. It was a beautiful, like a light blue paradise gourami. But the paradise gourami didn't like Rob. And so the gold gourami. So what ended up happening, everyone who I was talking to was like, oh no, Big's going to swallow and eat that paradise gourami. But no, the paradise gourami ended up beating up Rob and killed Rob. And I was so mad. But this beautiful paradise gourami, and then I was mad, but I was also mad at myself for just leaving them alone. I should have just left them alone. You always want to do something bigger and better. Like, I'm going to add another gourami. That would be so cool to have like a couple gouramis around this big Oscar, and not knowing how vicious this, paradise gourami would be. And I was just like, man, I was so mad at myself for letting that happen, man. I was just like, gosh, dang it.
Betas of the gourami world. The paradise gourami.
Yeah, they are, man. They're vicious, man. I learned a lot about the paradise gourami, that's for sure.
Yeah. I had quite a few at one point. A few.
So then who else is in this tank is, right here, is my ocellaris peacock bass. me see if I can get him to swim over there. There he goes. He thinks I'm going to feed him, so that's one way to get him in the screen. Anyways, he's an ocellaris peacock bass. Last time I measured him, he was right at 16 inches. So he's another big boy. Super aggressive. And then we have another right here. This is an Oscar. It's a albino tiger Oscar. I did a video on my ocellaris peacock bass here. I've had him since he was about 1.5 inches, 2 inches big. He's about that big, yeah. And he's just a beast that I could never get rid of. Like, yeah, he's just that's my guy. He's been through so much, good times, bad times. You know, he tries to eat everything, and I had to save him a couple times by swallowing fish that he couldn't fit in his mouth. Or like he tried to go after my Synodontis catfish, and you know they have those pectoral fins that flare out like a grappling hook. Yeah. And like he was trying to swallow him and he couldn't. So he was jammed in his mouth, and that was a fun story to tell about getting that catfish out of his mouth, which he didn't die. I still have my Synodontis catfish, who I call Legend, because he survived the mouth of an ocellaris peacock bass. He was literally in his mouth, but his dorsal fin was up. So, and it was locked up, and his pectoral fins were out. So my ocellaris peacock bass couldn't come down and just close and smash him. So his mouth was stuck. He was stuck. He wasn't coming out. And I managed to net him, my ocellaris peacock bass. I was going to net him to put him in a tote to try to physically open his mouth to get him out, to swim out. And I think out of pure panic, stress, when I netted him, he actually spit him out, or the catfish came out. My Synodontis catfish came out and like slid across the top of the aquarium and fell into the aquarium. And no marks. I think something happened to his eye though, because I think as I see him, one of his eyes it's kind of like foggy. So I don't know if he's blind in one eye, but the other eye is fine. So he lived to tell the tale though. It was a fun little fish story and video to make, because I had the footage of him with the Synodontis catfish in his mouth, and he was still breathing, and the catfish was still breathing. It was the weirdest thing, you know? So, yeah, this is my boy. Over here. This is my boy. We have a lot of memories. So, yeah. And then as far as Lamont goes, where is he at? There he is. The reason why I call him Lamont is because it was lemon for Oscar, right? So I just took the word lemon, and kind of put a little break in there and called him Lamont, right? Because he was sold to me as a lemon. He looked like a lemon. He was yellow. And then over the time, he morphed into an albino. So I just, over research and talking to people in the hobby, there's a lot of, it's hard to find a true lemon Oscar because they inject a lot of Oscars with, I don't know, food coloring. I don't even know what they inject them in with to make them look yellow. And then as they get older, that color kind of goes away, and then you get stuck with the true Oscar fish, right? So it happens to a lot of people. So I was shocked. I thought it was me. I go, wait a minute, this dude was yellow. Like I literally have video footage when I put him in the aquarium of him being yellow as a lemon. And then now when you look at him, he's a straight albino tiger Oscar. So, hey, it is what it is, But that's pretty much in this aquarium here. So this is a 120-gallon tank. So it's 2 feet from top to bottom. It's 2 feet from front to back, and then it's 4 feet long. So as of right now, this is where they're at. But when we do Tiki Lounge in the garage, I'm planning on, my buddy Dennis and I are planning on building something bigger so we can throw some more peacock bass. And I'm planning on having a bigger aquarium for an Oscar tank only. So those are kind of like, you're getting the sneak peek behind the scenes on what's the plans. Just the beginning of the plans though for Tiki Lounge. So I'm planning on doing some big things, and then this aquarium will be empty because everybody will be out of here. And so I have some ideas for this aquarium on what I want to do, a bunch of different ideas. So to have a 120 gallon tank to work with, and I want to do something really cool. So I don't think I'm going to put monster fish though. I don't think and nothing big. I'm going to put something like, I don't know, more community. And so, yeah, make it a cool. My vision is, live plants. I don't want to give it away. You guys are going to have to stay tuned. Stay tuned, man. Stay tuned.
No, that's good. That's good. You have any saltwater tank?
Well, I do have one in the making. I have a 10-gallon aquarium that was given to me by my buddy Dennis. It's ready to go. I've been slowly adding things to it, getting an auto top off. I just want to make it a low function 10-gallon saltwater tank. When I say low function, I mean like maintenance wise, right? I want to keep that thing going. I have an algae. It's reactor, an algae reactor. So I'll be able to, that'll help with filtration. I just got a auto top off for it and a auto top off reservoir. And I'm learning about the saltwater, with evaporation and salt water and why you need, to add, RO water and whatnot. So it's ready to go. I just haven't pulled the trigger, man. It's like guns cocked and loaded. I just got to go bang, bang and go down there and, get some sand. I'm probably going to get some live sand with beneficial bacteria in it, some live rock, and do it. You know what I mean? It's in my son's room right now. They're excited because it's going to be a really cool nightlight for them, So, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have any, but I have one in waiting right now, and that's my goal. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. I'm definitely going to get it going. It's like ready to go. I have 3 jugs, 5-gallon jugs of RO water and 3 5-gallon jugs of salt water. So like your boy is like cocked and ready to go. I just got to go down and pull the trigger, get some live rock, and maybe we'll do that within the next couple weeks, something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna dip my feet in that realm of salt water. So
salt water.
Scary. It's scary because the reason why it's scary is not because I'm scared I'm gonna kill fish. I mean, hell, I've killed a lot of fish. I'm scared of how addicted I'm going to get. You know what I mean? I might get into that and be like, oh, I want all salt water now. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm scared at. Like, well, this is what's going to happen. I already know. My ultimate goal is to keep the Hawaii state fish, the humu humu nuku nuku apua'a. That's what I want to keep. And I can do that. So I know this is going to be the first stage of getting to that level, right? So like 10-gallon tank. Oh, this is cool. This is fun. I'm ready for a 40. Oh, this is cool. I'm ready for a 70. You know what I mean? Like to have a humu humu, I want at least a 50 to a 75-gallon aquarium for him because they get pretty big. And I want him to be comfortable. And he'll probably be, I don't know, it'd be cool to have maybe one of those and maybe a clown trigger. That would be really cool. I don't know. I really don't know the temper on those two fish together. I do see them small together in a tank. I don't know how they are as adults, but that would be cool. But I will do that once Tiki Lounge is built. I'll be looking forward to doing the Hawaii state fish in an aquarium. So yeah, for sure. That's the goal as far as saltwater goes.
Okay. That's cool. Overall in the house, how many tanks do you have?
Active aquariums right now in the house, I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the saltwater tank is the one that's ready to go. I'll have 9 total. So you can see how it probably drives my wife crazy. So I have 1 here. I got 1 on the kitchen counter, 1 in the kind of like the kitchen grand room over there. I have 3 in my older son's room, and I have 1 and then the saltwater tank in my younger son's rooms. they're in everybody's rooms except ours. My wife's like, don't even think about putting an aquarium in here. But this is the thing I don't understand, guys. Maybe you guys can answer it in the chat. My wife loves the sound of running water. So she'll play like this sound, the sound effect of running water, or a white noise like a shh. Or sometimes she falls asleep to like these people talking that are like, you're getting sleepy. And and they're like talking to her. I'm like, that's so creepy, man. I walk into the room. I'm like, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's just the sleeping thing. And I'm like, can you stop playing that? And then she like, okay, well then I'll put in some running water. It's like ocean sound, right? And I'm like, hey, I can do something really cool for you. I can actually put a beautiful aquarium in here. Maybe we dress it up with some beautiful angelfish. It'll have that little sound of some running water. She goes, no, 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 I'm good. I'm like, well, what's the difference, man? You got the sound of running water in the I can make something, just trust me, man. Trust your boy. I can make something beautiful, and just, where graceful. You can sit there and just maybe almost fall asleep to looking at the fish swim. She goes, not buying it, not buying it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I tried. So your boy's got 8 aquariums right now. 9, probably, I want to say within the next month will be 9. Yeah.
Still in here says, congrats on getting the car you wanted.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. Yep, this video that's going to drop on Sunday is going to be awesome, man. I just picked up these 2 beautiful koi that you guys got to see, man. Just, yeah, and it's straight from a breeder from Hawaii, and man, they were actually my buddy actually bought 100 fry from that koi breeder in Hawaii. Had them shipped to the mainland. He did the process of raising them when they were like, gosh, maybe a quarter of an inch. They were really small. And he showed me the process, and he culled them too. So he was taking out all the ones that he felt that were the stronger colors. And it was a time, and he narrowed it down to, I want to say he has like 20 fish out of 100 that he kept. And the ones that he didn't keep, he obviously gave to friends or, gave to the local fish stores. But he actually separated them all, and he ended up giving me 2 of them. So it was, and he actually let me pick, which was really cool. I was honored to even, I thought I was willing to pay for them if he wanted, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I can only afford $50, but I can give you $50, But he's such a good heart, and he's a big fan of the channel. He's like, no, I want to give these to you, man. They belong with you, man. You're the Hawaiian fish keeper. These fish are from Hawaii. And I was just like, dude, that's so cool. And like every new fish, they're my favorite fish right now. You know what I mean? Every new fish you get, oh, these are my favorite. Oh, I love these guys. These are cool. So as of right now, they're number 1 on the list until, the next new fish comes in, and then you fall in love with that fish. But yeah, that's, thank you for the shout out on the new, on the fish that I got. That's cool. Yep.
Definitely. Did because I don't remember the koi that were being is saved, rescued on another one of the videos. What happened to all of them? Were they dispersed out?
Oh yeah, so I just had an update on them. I just talked to the twins. Are you talking about the 2 little kids, the 2 twins that I dropped? Yeah, so I rescued like 33 fish, I believe it was 33 fish from a pond in a city called Vallejo, and it's about a 2-hour drive. Went out there, picked up the fish, brought them back to my friend's natural pond that they have on their property, which is like, I don't know, 40,000 gallons. It's really big. And I had their twin, a boy and a girl, Ryan and Carson, released them into their pond. And they're doing great. I asked them, I go, hey, have you seen? Because they have a big, I mean, if you see that pond, it's huge. And they have a wide range to swim. And I don't even know if they're going to ever see them again, Not only that, though, there's largemouth bass that they have in there. So I'm like, well, we'll see how these fish do. I know the ones that are darker colored goldfish, they may survive, but and then the ones that are pretty big, the beefy koi, I'm pretty sure they'll be all right, because I went fishing in there, and they're a nice size largemouth. They're not huge, but there are a ton of minnows in there, and a lot of fish for them to eat besides the big koi, which I don't know. You never know. They're a predator fish, so can they attack them? Yes, they can, but we released 33 koi and goldfish, some beautiful ones too. And I just talked to the twins on Thursday, and they go, we can see the fish swimming. They still see them. So I kind of told them, this is what you have to do to try to train your fish is when you get your koi food and you go out to feed them, shake it, put it in a plastic container, and shake it really loud as you walk up to that rock, and feed them in one specific spot. Don't go around the pond because it's huge. They'll get super confused. Have one designated spot and be consistent. Like, do it every single day, just one time a day. Shake that thing really loud on top of the rock and stand up there so they can kind of see you. And when you throw it into the water, throw it hard and make sure they can hear that sound and just see what happens. And so they happen to see some of the koi. She's like, we haven't seen them all, but we see them. They're swimming around. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So to answer your question, they're still doing great. So they're still doing great. Yeah, they're I don't know how many, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping like to just come by and you know, see them like this swimming by, like huge. And I'm like, look at those things, you know. But it's also nice to have somebody like that when somebody calls me, like there was a lady that just threw something out on Facebook that she had like 15 fish. They're getting rid of their koi pond. And some of the fish that they've had for like, what did she say? 12, 13 years. So they're pretty big koi. And she had some shubunkin goldfish that they wanted to get rid of. And I tried to hit her up. I was going to rescue them and take them to, you know, my buddy's natural pond that he has. And she didn't contact. She was trying to contact me on Facebook, but I told her, contact me on my cell number. Here it is. Text me. I can get back to you faster because I'm hardly on Facebook. And she was messaging me through Facebook. And I'm like, so when I got her message, it was way later. And then she said she needed to know an answer by noon. It was already 1:30. And then she sent me another message. And I'm like, she goes, hey, I'm going to contact you on your cell phone. So I'm like, okay. And she never contacted me. So yeah, you know, you win some, you lose some. It's all good. But it's nice to have that resource of my friend's natural pond to rescue fish that are in smaller ponds or aquariums. And I have somewhere to take them where they can live, hopefully, a happy life. You know, there are largemouth bass.
Possibly.
There are largemouth bass in there, but if I ever come across huge koi, which a lot of people will get rid of their big koi, like I've had incidences where you know, they had loved ones pass and they had a koi pond, and let's just say the kids are coming in and they don't want anything to do with the koi pond. They don't want anything to do with the house. They're going to sell everything, right? So they're just trying to get rid of fish. They don't care. They don't understand the value. They don't want to take the time to try to find someone to maybe buy them. So they just want them out. So it's nice to know that I can just go pick up these big koi and let them go in my friend's pond, which they want to have beautiful koi swimming around in that pond. So I'm like, this is cool to have those options. You know what I mean? Because it's cool. It's also, those are like probably one of my most favorite videos to create on YouTube is fish rescues, because you get to see different people's setups. You get to be surprised because you just don't know. It's like a grab bag. You know, there are people that say, hey, I got like 10 koi in my aquarium or 10 koi in my pond outside. And I go out there and they're all goldfish. There's no koi. I go, oh no, these are goldfish. They go, oh no, they're koi. I go, no, they look like koi because of the colors, but these are shubunkin goldfish, or they could be sarasa goldfish, which are beautiful, bright red and white. I go, no, these are goldfish. And they go, well, we were told they're koi. I go, well, the people lied to you. This is how you can tell. And I kind of showed them. I said, so like koi have whiskers right by their mouth, and you can see them. They're little whiskers. Goldfish don't. And so the lady that I was talking to was like, oh. I go, yeah, these are goldfish. I'm not calling you a liar because you just don't know, but these are goldfish. And, you know, the people that told you that they were koi, they're not. So that's how you can tell. It's super simple. A lot of goldfish, a lot of shubunkin goldfish will sometimes fool you. They're like, is that a koi or a goldfish? You know, their body style, you know? And yeah, that's one of the simple ways. It's an easy way to figure out if it's a koi or a goldfish. So.
Gotcha. What we got over here? Thank you, Miss Catherine. Thank you for the super chat, ma'am. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
So how many above ground at this point? Do you have plans for the expansion?
Yeah, so the expansion, so Tiki Falls 4.0, I plan on moving those fish into that pond. And what I want to do with that pond is either A, use it to breed koi, which would be really fun. I can use that. I have that. Like if I find a male, this is this is what's going on. So spring is when koi and goldfish that are outside in ponds, they go into breeding mode. So it gets, and I'm hoping to get some really good footage and do a video on that because it's fascinating how aggressive these fish get during breeding. So basically, the female gets full of eggs, and the males will chase them around and try to push on their bellies um, to squeeze the eggs out, and then they either eat them or fertilize them, depending on what they
Oh,
want to do.
that's
It's
a
crazy,
choice, man.
and they get mean. Like these koi, the male kois will literally team up on a female who's full of eggs, and you just see them slamming them into rocks and pushing them up against the walls and just trying to corner them to push those eggs out so they can either eat them or fertilize them. So I have a lot of long string green algae in the above ground pond. I'm going to leave it. I was thinking about taking it out. It's super easy. It's almost like cotton candy. You just kind of twirl your hand in it and it just kind of comes up in chunks. But I'm going to leave it because it'll give the eggs an opportunity to maybe develop into fry. So what's going to happen is I will determine who's a male and a female in the above ground pond. So I'll start to jot it down in my notes, which I'll use in my phone. You just go into notes and I'll go male, female, male, female. I can see who's chasing who. I know for a fact I have two females in there. One's a Oranda goldfish that I've had forever. It's an all black one. That's a female. And so they're already chasing her around. And so that's why I put a net over the top because I don't want them, because once they start chasing each other around, they start jumping. And I don't want them to jump out because it could happen. And so once I determine who's male and female, then I can actually, now I have a spot for them. Once Tiki Falls 4.0 is built, I'll know who a male and a female is in there. I can net them. I can separate them during the spring season and put them in the above ground pond. So they have that whole area there to breed. And then we can raise hopefully some really cool koi fry, so that's the plans right now. It could change because I did at one point wanted to transfer that into a predator pond outside. But because it's so cold in California during the winter time, it would cost a lot of money to keep that warm.
Okay.
So I thought about, because it's a bog filter too, so it's like exposed. So even though I can keep the water in the pond somewhat controlled, that bog filter is exposed. And so, I might have to change it up a little bit. It might be a lot. It might be too much to do. I can probably store like largemouth bass in there, freshwater bass. Now, there are certain laws and regulations to do that in California, are super strict when it comes to that. But because of my friend's pond that's on their property, privately owned, I can actually fish in their pond, catch a largemouth, and they can give me a paper, just sign it saying it's okay for me to take that fish home. So it'll protect me, fish, fish and game. If they come after me, that I'll have a note and I can actually keep, because I think technically you're not allowed to like catch a largemouth bass in a pond or in a lake and take it home as a pet. I think by law you can't do that unless it's under. Yeah, in California's crazy strict, right? But if you go and fish on somebody's private pond that they own on their property, it's a different story. So it's kind of like gifted. They call it gifted or something like that. I was kind of looking into it because I thought about keeping. I can keep. They're cold water. You know what I mean? So a largemouth bass in an above ground pond would be super cool. So that's an option that I can do when the koi are in Tiki Falls, or we can keep the above ground pond as a breeding pond for koi. So those are my two options that I have for the above ground pond once Tiki Falls 4.0 is built. So you gotta give a shout out to Metalhead. Wow.
Metalhead Aquatics. Is that Metalhead Prime? Or is that Metalhead Prime and Lady Metalhead? But thank y'all very much for that super chat. Thank you.
That is from the Ohana. Much love, you guys.
I see y'all. Hey, where y'all coming from? I see my regulars falling in. I'm glad we still going. I'm glad to see y'all.
Yeah, we got 29 strong in here, Big
I
Hank.
got them all falling in the door right now. What's
Look
going
at that,
on?
man.
Where were y'all hiding?
Big shout out to Catherine. I know you gave her a shout out, Catherine with friends
Yes,
with the
sir.
$2 super chat.
What's going on? Who all came in? Griffin, Geek Boy, Foxy. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Stellina.
Yeah.
The $5
Still
super
in ya.
Still in ya. The $5 super chat. I'm kind of going down right now, hollering at everybody. I know you guys are actually messaging in the live chat. I apologize if I'm not answering questions or anything. Just telling the stories, guys. Just telling the stories. The
Ricky. Ricky de Hoyos. What's going on, man? Oh, you been here. Okay, you was lurking. Right, all right.
Shout out to Foxy's Fishes. What's up?
Roxy.
You don't have to put on a red light. You don't have to.
We just come out of nowhere.
We're just freestyling right. We're like 8 Mile Road right now. Hey, this is for the old guys out there, huh?
Most definitely. Hey, he just had a birthday 52?
Hey, easy there. Slow your roll, my man.
I put another
51.
on there, 51. My fault.
51. Yeah, your boy
y'all,
turned
50. He already told me, y'all. He already told me. I just did it to him. I was messing with him. Because I'm about to be 50 in April.
Hey, Hawaii 5-0s out there. All you 50-year-olds out there. We're doing it, baby. We're doing it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm 51, but, you know, my kids and my wife would say I'm probably like 13 sometimes.
Fisherman 64. What's going on?
Old guys, not yet. Y'all ain't. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thank you, DD. Hey, thank you. Yes. Oh, hey, Adele, your spring chicken.
We're like fine wine, you know. We just taste better as we get older. You know what I mean?
Just break out a little cheese with me.
That's it. One of them charcuterie boards. Get one of them charcuterie boards.
Right, charcuterie. Where did the name come from? Every time I hear it,
I have no idea. And we just call that a plate of crackers and cheese. That's what we call it.
Charcuterie. Renee, you 71? No, Renee. You serious?
71 in the house. I love it.
Man, you look every bit of 55 if you're 71.
There we go. I like that collaboration. I like that with the grapes. The grape
grapes
emoji.
And cheese. And a little Swiss.
Hey, there's a question for you, Hank. I got one for you. What's your favorite cheese, man?
My favorite cheese would have to be Gouda.
Wow, you're fancy, man. Gouda, yeah. That's fancy. You know, mine is nacho cheese. Nacho cheese, man. Put that on everything, man. You got chips. You can use that with salsa. You can put that nacho cheese, man. Hey, I am super ghetto when it comes to cheese, man. Give me some nacho cheese, man. I'll make that work.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that nacho cheese because my kids talk about me. Nachos and tacos, I make out of everything. Okay, 1971. There you go. I make anything and everything that's left around the house. I'm either gonna fry me some chips or I'm gonna put it in a tortilla. Now, the Gouda, I'm not even sure how. Since the last 2 years or so, I haven't had any Gouda. But man, my wife and I went through a point where we go to the store, we get groceries, get Gouda sliced. Man, you put that. Oh man, and then you got the bacon. If you get bacon and some hot Gouda. Oh,
man. You're fancy, man. You're fancy. Some Gouda cheese. 1971 in the building. Okay, Renee, that's right. That is the year. That's the golden child year right there. All those 1971 children out there. That's right. 71. Cheers to you guys, to the 71s out there.
Oh, hey, what's
Yeah.
up, Catherine? Your son-in-law loves Gouda. Hey, I'm here to tell you. Oxnard 8051. What's going on? Yeah, if you want one of those guilty pleasures, you know, if you got a few $2 or $3, you know what I'm saying? Go on, get your little Gouda.
Hey, you know what? Look, I'm looking at the chat. Everyone's saying Gouda fire, Gouda, you know what I mean? Like Oxnard saying fire with Gouda. I'm gonna try some Gouda. I'm gonna try some Gouda, Big Hank. Shoot.
It's all right. It's all right. I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
1965.
Freaky fish lady. Hey, let's go. I love it.
See ya. What would you say outside of the fish that we've already discussed? I mean, I may not even need to even say that, but your favorite fish that you don't have that you might not mind getting.
Gosh, you know what? It's a fish that we can't even keep in the United States. That's the fish that I would love to have, which is an Asian arowana. Okay. That's the fish that I would love to have. Okay. And I guess I mean, just because we can't get it, you know what I mean? So if it was allowed, I would totally that's something that I would jump on right away, try to get it as small as I can because it'll be a little bit cheaper. I'm sure it'll be probably $1,000 at a really small size, but oh man, something like that. I'll put on layaway. I'll put that fish on layaway to get that Asian arowana. But oh gosh. But let's be real with it, right? Something that I can get right now that I don't have that I would love to keep. I would go with and something that I don't have already. I've always been a big fan of the tiger shovel-nosed catfish. They get really big too, but I just love the way they look. And I'm not really a big catfish guy, but I don't even want to mess with the red tail. Red tails are just too big. But I feel that the tiger shovel-nosed catfish is a little bit more manageable. It does get big, 3 feet. I've seen them in the wild 5 feet, 6 feet, but tiger shovel-nosed catfish, I would say, is probably that fish that I would love to keep that I don't have, that I've never kept before.
Gotcha. I'm like Adele there, Collaboration of Curiosities. Now with the snakehead, price wouldn't be a problem. Wouldn't be a problem at all. You can get snakehead for free. Just get in my car, drive up the road. But it's just frowned upon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Snakeheads are pretty cool though. Those are a pretty cool fish.
Oh man, the China is a beautiful fish, man. All the different variations. They got the little ones, they got your super big ones. It's a bad fish, man. It's a bad fish. Man, bad meaning good, not bad meaning bad. Michael Jackson. Have you ever thought about a koi store?
A koi store, like opening one?
Like you selling koi, whether it be online or physical, but
okay, so if I went the route where the above ground pond, I turned it into a breeding pond for my koi, I would probably start off by selling them from the house, something like that, where people can come down locally and get them. Because I probably, until I feel comfortable shipping them, that would be super cool. I can see maybe something like that happening if I go that route with breeding the koi. Why not? You know what I mean? Especially if there's some really cool looking ones, that would be super cool, and not charge crazy pricing. You know what I mean? I would charge my lane pricing because I understand. You know what I mean? So I would be given a really cool, high quality koi fish fry or whatever to somebody, instead of hundreds of dollars or possibly thousands of dollars, it would be super simple, like $25. You know what I mean? Or maybe
Yeah.
cheaper, just something so people can enjoy the a beautiful imported koi. You know, that would be super cool.
And when I say that like pretty much does not exist, you can find almost any fish in the hobby, available like that. But
Yeah.
the koi, not really.
Yeah.
That would be off the hook.
Yeah, you can find some really good koi. Like I hate to throw shade at the domestic koi, but you can find some really good koi if you just like I said, I have a ton of domestic koi in my above ground pond right now. Um, you can find some really, really good ones. I definitely I would say the next koi or one that I'm looking for that that I'll talk about on the channel here for you on the live stream is all black koi. So with an all black koi, traditionally it's good to have one in every pond. It's the story behind the black koi is it actually protects you from bad spirits, from evil. Another definition that I've heard was it's to uh, take away the bad energy, and that's what a black koi does for a pond. So every koi pond should have at least one black koi, not a black goldfish, a black koi. And they're not, I don't want to say they're hard to find, but there are specific breeders that will breed just the black koi. So for me, I've seen them at my local fish stores. And that would be one of the koi that I will get. I had one in Tiki Falls, but I had a mishap that happened to I killed a lot of my fish, which was a tragic day, probably the worst day of fish keeping in my life. And so a lot of the fish I lost that I had, and there were about a handful of fish that survived. So yeah, that was my mistake with the above ground pond, because I transferred them into the above ground pond when my buddy Dennis and I first started to build the above ground pond. The liner that we used was toxic, and we didn't know that. And so the liner that he had was for water storage, but he and myself, we didn't know that there was a toxic chemical in it. So we thought it was legit. I was super happy. At first I bought some goldfish from my local fish store. I think it was PetSmart. And I actually threw in like 5 or 6 of them. I wanted to see how they were going to do in this big, 375-gallon above ground pond. And after like 4 days, they died. And I'm like, gosh, dang, they died, And so I was like, well, maybe, there wasn't I'm thinking that's hard, but I mean, okay, maybe there wasn't enough beneficial bacteria established. It was fairly new, but I put a bunch in there. And I went out and bought a gallon of beneficial bacteria from Fritz and dumped the whole thing in there, thinking to myself, oh, this will definitely guarantee it, right? So I let that cycle, added a couple fish. They were doing great. I got super happy, and I started to net all of my fish and put them in the above ground pond from Tiki Falls. And when I did that, I got super happy. I was just like, this is so cool. My kids are out at the above ground pond at like eye level, and the fish were close up personal. It was like we're at Marine World or SeaWorld. You know what I mean? And we're like in awe. I mean, I managed to just net all of them one day. It was so hard to net them before, but like for whatever reason, I was in a zone and I kept netting everybody. I'm like, dude, I'm getting all the fish. Let's just put them in the above ground pond. And I was caught up in my emotions, man. I was super happy. And then like 4 or 5 days later, I'm watching the fish and they look a little lethargic. They're kind of swimming sideways. I'm like, wait a minute, are they not doing good? I figured I had everything covered. I had established beneficial bacteria in there. I was using media from my pond. I pretty much transferred everything over, and I was like, something's going on. So I managed to net all the fish out of the above ground pond, put them back into Tiki Falls, and by them being stressed and moved and probably all that, all the toxics from the pond that they were in their system. Some of them made it, some of them didn't. I lost, man, everybody pretty much except like 5, which were like the first two koi that I ever bought. I still have them, so they made it. Managed to get them out of there, but I still lost a lot of fish that I absolutely loved, and it was because of my fault. I made a video of it. My buddy Dennis was like, dude, you gonna make a video about that? I go, I have to. You know what I mean? Like, I got to keep it real. I got to keep it real with the Ohana. I got to let them know that, hell, I make mistakes too. I'm human. You know what I mean? Like, I got happy. I got caught up in my emotions, and I killed all my fish almost, just about, you know? So, yeah, so it was a tough video to make because, you know, it's embarrassing. You kind of look like a jackass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not some super fish keeper. You know what I mean? I got caught up in the emotions, and you know, the number one rule in fish keeping is being patient, especially when you're, you know, test the water out, do all that stuff. I kind of just jumped the gun and I suffered the consequences. And so I was super bummed, but you know, on the brighter side of things, you know, it's like you live and you learn. And then I got to buy more fish, and we actually redid the whole, you know, pond liner and put in the right pond liner, which was a 40 mil EPDM pond liner, which, you know, they use for koi ponds. So that's what we did, and ever since then, everything's been great. So it sucked though. It sucked. It really did. I hated that day.
Yep, I know the feeling. They weren't quite koi, but I had leopard, long fin, leopard Daniel. Love them.
Ooh, those are beautiful.
And I killed some on a live stream, man. They were in a tank on a bookshelf behind the camera, so the camera couldn't see it, but I could see them while I'm sitting there. You know, I could see them.
Yeah.
Did a water change, man. I'm going about to, you know, live stream, and I'm glancing up, you know, and they're like, oh man, what's going on up there? And I'm speaking on it as the live stream is going. I'm like, man, what's going on up there? I want to say I had maybe 5 in it. I think I lost 3, but I think it was I'm still not sure. Is it that I didn't use enough dechlorinator, or did I just forget it all together? I'm not even sure, because that's not, you know, that's not normal. That's not something, you know.
I've done that before. I was like, did I put the chlorinator in? Wait, I'm old, man. I'm old. I'll play that old card.
No, man.
Yeah, I know that feeling though. Yeah, I see Freaky Fish Lady. She said she's never seen a black koi. Yeah, they're actually beautiful. They're black, so obviously they blend with the pond. They're kind of hard to see. But at the bottom of them, if you flip them upside down, they have like a beautiful gold color, like a metallic gold. It's super cool. And so, but yeah, they are actually known to, you know, shield off bad energy. I don't want to say evil spirits. That was a little too aggressive, but it's more or less like to shield away the bad energy and
bad juju.
Yeah, just keep a nice flow, good vibes, you know. Yeah. So that's that whole definition of the black koi.
I saw a video maybe 2 days ago. Some guys was doing a rescue, but it was a 2-phase video. They had built this above ground koi pond, acrylic. I mean, you know, just beautiful. And they rescued some koi, and they had one large black koi that went in last. It may have been the biggest one in there. And that was the first time I'd actually ever seen black koi.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, like I said, they're not a sought after koi because they're so plain looking. They're just black, right? So you're just like, what? But when you find out the meaning of the black koi, you're like, oh yeah, I need one of those. You know what I mean? And like I had one in Tiki Falls for the longest time. That was one of the fish that I lost, which I was like, no, it wasn't huge. It was about yay big, but it was getting big, and it had a beautiful gold color underneath it, like a gold metallic color. And it was a female. It got chased around because you know, it was full of eggs. And so I knew that was a female. And I was just like, man, that was one of the fish I died. And so that died. And so ever since then, I'm like, it's okay. My local fish store will have it. I'll go back and go get another one. And then the local fish store burned down. And I was like, no, yeah, it was. I have to do a video on that. That's another breaking news story right there on your live stream. Yeah, it was a huge fish store in Sacramento called Exotic Aquarium. I've done numerous videos there. It's like 20,000 square foot, huge. They have like 600 display tanks, saltwater, freshwater, no reptiles, just strictly aquatics. Huge. I want to say it's like the Costco of aquarium stores. It's gigantic, and it burned down. There was some type of electrical that went on, and so I obviously that was my resources on getting the black koi, and so I'm like, I was super bummed. I was like, no, and it made the news. People were blasting it on social media because it was kind of it's a landmark out here for the aquarium hobby. Exotic Aquarium was the name of it, and so. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but the good news is they're coming back. They're on the come up, so they're redoing the store, and I don't know when they'll be open, but they're already starting to get things renovated, and so that's the good news. But yeah, it's gonna be huge. Well, their grand opening is gonna be big. I'm gonna definitely be there when it opens up for sure.
Man, Master Aquatics. Man, Sacramento, Vallejo, that's where E40 is from. Huh? Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Tell me what it got. That's it. 40 water.
Oh, E40. Oh, get your crackle like that aquarium. Ooh. Israel Punch, welcome.
Yeah, Israel, what's up?
Have you visited any of the shellers?
No, I haven't. That's one of the it's on my bucket list for sure. I got to every time an aquashella pops up, it's either my son's basketball schedule, with his tournaments and high school season or something is up, and or B, I just don't have money. I'm waiting for one to come here in California. It's always like Texas or Dallas and Florida and Chicago. I'm like, man, what about like Cali? Isn't this like a big market? You know what I mean? So even if they have it in Los Angeles, that's a 6-hour drive. I can do that. I can beeline there. Sacramento. Hey, this would be awesome. Right here, my hometown. I'd be there in the drop of a dime. But yeah, it's just the timing and my schedule. So yeah, it's tough, but I haven't made it to a Shella. I would love to go to a Shella for the experience and just, geek out there, and meet people. And, maybe some of the Ohana will be there. We can, take pictures for the gram, stories, whatever. I love that stuff. When I'm in my local fish stores, I hate it when I'm in a local fish store and I'm doing a video or doing my thing or just in public anywhere, and somebody, in the next, or somebody DMs me and said, hey, I saw you at, Aquarium and Reptile Depot in Sacramento. I didn't want to say hi, though. I didn't want to bother you. I'm like, you come up and say hi, man. Like, you are not bothering me at all. It may look like I'm busy or I might be talking to the camera, but like, I'm talking to a camera. Like, I'm not talking to anybody. You're not interrupting me at all. Like, I love to meet the Ohana. I love to meet people, love to converse, talk, chop it up. Man, I love that. You know what I mean? So like, don't ever think, if you ever see me in public somewhere like, oh, I don't want to bother him. Hell no. Come up and say hi. I get pissed off when they don't say hi. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Come say hi, man. Give me a big aloha. You know what I mean? Like, it's all love. It's all good. It's like, come on.
Right. I remember man had a guy recognize me at my LFS, and I had my mask on and everything. I don't have any idea. I mean, he's watching me on the screen, but
yeah,
I
that's
see him
cool.
looking over there, and I work in corrections, so I see him looking. I'm like, hey, He's like, "Are you big tank? I happen to have some stickers in my pocket. If you want one, you know." Oh man, yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was
cool.
great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
It's it's different and it's not awkward in a bad way, but it's kind of cool when you get recognized out in public. Like I was at a gas station pumping gas and some car comes driving by, he gets out, he was going in the little mini mart and he was just like, "Hawaiian Fish Keeper, what's up?" And I'm like, hey, kind of get you off guard. You're like, "Hawaiian Fish Keeper?" Like, "Oh yeah, that's me. Hey, what's up, man?" They're like, "Hey man, love your videos, man." I'm like, "Oh, really? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Are you from right?" He's like, "Yeah, I live over here." I'm like, "Wow, dude, that's cool." You know what I mean? Like at a gas station, you know? That's kind of fun. It's always fun. But I always love when people say hi, man. It's like, or if I meet somebody at a local fish store and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't believe you're here, man. Oh my gosh, man, I'm such a big fan." I'm like, "I'm just a normal guy, man. It's all good. Don't get nervous, dude. It's all good, man. Like, what are you here buying? You know what I mean? Like, we'll just chop it up, you know? Let's take a picture with the gram." I'm asking them for a picture. They're not asking me. I'm like, "Come here, man. Let me take a picture, man. I'm gonna post this on my story." You know what I mean? Like, that's how I am. And
yeah,
I think sometimes my personality is a little bit, I don't want to say it's aggressive. It's just like, "What's up, man? What's up?" Like, you're like, "We're all fish nerds, man. We're family. You know, what's going on? What are you buying?" Like, "Oh man, hey, can you?" And then they'll like message me later in DMs and be like, "Hey, can you send me that picture of us? I was so nervous. I forgot to ask for a picture." And I'm like, "Yeah, here, I still have it." So I'll send it to him. And, you know, it's stuff like that. I love it, man. It's like, I don't look at it's weird and it's kind of odd to be like considered, whoa, an influencer or something like that. But like the comments that I receive on, you know, someone that's suffering from mental health and like my videos get them by or get them through, and they comment and they say, "Man, you know, it's been rough this last year. Wife passed away. Just some tragic stories, you know. Um, I look forward to your videos. They put a smile on my face. They're getting me back into the hobby." Those comments there, man, I absolutely love. Those ones there hit me right in the heart, and it keeps pushing me. Like, oh man, that's cool. They, instead of me inspiring them, they inspire me to keep going, right? And like knowing that, you know, hey, you know, I might not have millions and millions and millions of people watching me, but shoot, if I'm making a change to someone's life about them losing their parents or them being, you know, you know, with some mental health issues,
yeah,
and them watching my videos puts a smile on their face, or I may act silly and crazy in some of my videos to where they can relate and they enjoy my sometimes weird sense of humor and big personality. Man, it's just like that. Out of all the negativity stuff, all the negative stuff, dude, shines straight through that, you know. So like that's the kind of stuff that I love to hear, and it's a lot, you know. And I don't realize it until people will DM me and they'll say, "Hey, thank you, man. That last video you made put a smile on my face. I had a bad day." I'm like,
yeah.
"Damn, really? No problem, my man. Like, I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, I love those short, simple, straight to the point." And I'm just like, "Damn." And then it kind of, I sit back and I'm like, "Wow, I can't believe like people are really enjoying it, or it's an impact, you know, to their day or their mood," which is
Humbling,
somber. Yeah, it's super humbling, super humbling.
but it's cool, man. It's cool. It is cool. It is cool.
Yeah,
That's why I do this. Literally, literally, literally. That's why I do this, because there's so many people who, I mean, you don't know what's going on. I mean, with them personally, but we know what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah. To be able to make a difference, man. It is a beautiful thing. Yes, it is very much so. And I tell people in here all the time. I have my email. I'll be scrolling across there. I'm glad I said that, because I don't even see my ticker. Let me put something up there. And I'd always tell them, I say, I'm on. You can hit me on Messenger, email, whatever. I'm always available. You know, if you just want to talk with us, vent, come out, man, ask some questions, whatever.
yeah,
Always available.
for sure. Shout out to Foxy's Fishes. Thank you so much. Little Hawaiian fish.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And just so you guys know, it's just ice water in the cup. All right, guys, just ice water. If you're wondering. I know I got a little lit on my live stream when I was celebrating 20,000 subscribers. Yeah, I was like, you know what, man? I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to pour me some whiskey. I'm going to sip on this. I'm going to vibe with everybody. That was good times right there. That was good times.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Was that the one with the mask giveaway and I think it was sweatshirt?
No, that was with the mask giveaway. That was 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
Yeah, I was big on going live a lot. I went on live like on every Friday. I called it like the Aloha Friday shout out. And look at that mask there. Oh, look at you. That's an exclusive right there. You know that, Big Hank, right? That's an exclusive right there, man. Shoot. Look at the,
hey, y'all, if you didn't know, I was, I'm a real fan. It wasn't like,
that was at 10,000 subscribers, baby. I got that out to you ASAP. I remember.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. And hey, y'all, I want to fight somebody in the chat, man. I thought they would take my mask, man.
I know, man. I was like, hey, you got it. You got it, Big Hank. I got you, man. You won it. Yeah, that was so cool.
Oh, man. Thank you very much, though. Thank you.
No way, man. Thank you, dude.
Oh. Let's see what Adele say. I said the same thing recently. It's all I can do for Fish Fam. I'm so far away, but I'm a good ear and shoulder. Yes, ma'am. You'd be surprised. As simple as it may be or may seem, to us. Hey, people just want to be heard.
It's the little things like that. I try to. I don't try, but I usually will comment back or emoji. Everybody. I know right now it's I can do it. DMs in Instagram, if they have questions on stuff, I'm usually there to answer them. I'm usually on Instagram. I'm hardly ever on Facebook. Once in a while I'll get on, but I'll get back off. But my main platforms are YouTube and Instagram, not on TikTok at all. I mean, I'll like throw a video on there from my reels from Instagram, do something like that. But like my main two platforms are Instagram and YouTube. And like when people DM me and they have questions, and sometimes it's a busy day, but I always have downtime, so I'll answer every question. In comments, if you look at them all, I'll respond to every single person as much as I can. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like these overwhelming comments where I can't keep up with it. You know what I mean? But I that's one of my objectives when it comes to comments. I'm always, if somebody has asked me a question, I'm not going to ignore them. I'm going to try to answer it and try to give them, the best advice or to try to answer that question. And if I don't know, I'll be like, man, that never happened to me before. I have no idea. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's one thing I try to do is pay attention and engage with my audience. I think it's super important. There's a lot of YouTubers that don't, which is cool, but I try to literally engage, not just throw a heart at them or something like that. You know what I mean? Or an emoji, but I'll literally like, thank you, so-and-so, or much aloha. I appreciate the love and support, or, a couple emojis and thank you. And, just little things like that, man. It doesn't take much. You know what I mean? And like you said, like we talked about, they may be having a bad day. They may be having a breakdown. And then they send you a message thinking that you're probably not even going to comment. And then you just, hey, man, I appreciate you. You know how many times I didn't think you were going to message me back. Thank you for responding. I'm like, man, thank you, man. Like, there's no me without you. I appreciate you. No problem. That's, so I get a kick out of those. Like people that never message me on Instagram, direct message me, will send me something like, a question about an aquarium. And if I know, I'll be like, oh yeah, hey, check it out. Do this, this, and this. And they're like, man, I never thought you responded to me fast. And I'm like, nowadays we all have our phones on us, right? So I'm like, right. Oh yeah, if I have the quick question or the quick answer, I'll give it to them. But if I don't, I might have to look it up, or I might know somebody who something may have happened that he has experience with. I'm like, hey, what did you do when this happened? Because I have somebody who's asking me a question, and they'll tell me, and then I'll tell them, and it's the community. It's, I think, as creators, influencers, whatever you want to call us, I think it's our job to help if we can. And if somebody's reaching out to you, I feel super bad if I can't get to them or get back to them.
Most definitely. This here is a good little old platform, because I was one of the people who I had a ruptured Achilles, off from work, feeling useless, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And rolled up on the fish family on here, and they kept me occupied, and took my mind away from what I was going through, so I'm like, hey, then why can't I do the same thing for somebody else?
Yeah, like we were talking about that word respect, earlier, Big Hank. Just like collaboration just posted in the chat, held open a door or held the elevator for an old man with a walker yesterday. That's so little. You know what I mean? That's such a little easy thing to do for somebody, holding the elevator door, opening the door for people. It's that whole respect thing, and I think it's kind of losing its its edge. And so I've had so many doors close on me, like people just walk in front of me, close. I'm just like, damn, dude. Damn, you could have held the you could have threw a foot back there to hold it open at least. Give me an elbow or something. You know what I mean? Like they just straight go like just like door. I'm like, geez, man. But that's not what I teach my boys. I got a 7-8-year-old and a 16-year-old boy, right? I teach them, hey, you hold the door open. You always let the ladies go in. Teaching them young, you know what I mean? Respectful. And like the best compliment as parents that we can get, and this too, Big Hank, is when someone comes up to you and says, hey, your boys are so polite. I just want to tell you that. And that's a reflection of parenting, right? Like that's a reflection of how your kids act in public or to people. The please, the thank yous, thank you, even over thank yous. If my boys are telling the waiter and we're sitting down eating at Denny's or something, they're like, thank you for the water, thank you, whatever it may be. I'm just like, dang, you're really overdoing the thank yous, my man, but it's all good, man. I love it, And then, you got the waiter or waitress saying, oh, your boys are so polite. I'm like, oh, thank you, And I give my boys a high five, like, that a boy, that's how you act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hold the door open for that lady. They'll run over there and hold the door open. And so like when parents or people come up to them, they're like, hey, I just want to say your boys are so polite. I don't want to raise no punks. That's for sure. No punks.
Man, I used to have my kids like during a little old, they were younger, junior high-ish, freshmen in high school. And the church that we were attending, they would have like sleepovers at people's houses, and they'd come through the next week. My God, your kids are so polite, and I would just be looking, confused, like, what are they supposed to be? Thinking, I'm like, that's a good
trick
thing,
question?
right?
Yeah, is that a trick question?
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, like, you'd be shocked.
Say, well, yeah, I guess there's a lot of them out there that don't know, how to act. They haven't been taught. They haven't been privy to it.
It's a different breed nowadays. Now I witness it, right? So I coach youth basketball. I coach high school boys. I coach fourth graders. And the lack of respect that I see these kids, not my kids that I coach, because I teach them manners. I want to not only not only do I want to coach and teach the boys the game, but I also want to teach them life lessons, right? We respect our opponent. We don't talk back. I don't put up with attitudes or egos. I don't put up with bullying, none of that crap on my team, right? You just won't play for me. If a kid comes on my team and he has an attitude, oh, hey, see you later. Like, hey, I don't have to put up with this dude, right? There's no
Yep.
contracts involved. We're not dotting I's and crossing T's. You know what I mean? Like,
He said nobody's writing a check.
no, I'm coaching for free. I don't charge a coaching fee and all that stuff, but like teaching these kids right and wrong and how to be respectful. Like, I've had kids I coach that are new that I hear them give their mom or parents attitude in front of me. And I'm like, hey, can you say please? It's like, hey, give me my drink. They say stuff like that. I'm like, dude, if that was me saying that to my mom or dad, dude, I would lose this hand by saying, hey, go get me that drink. This hand would be gone. This would be getting cut off. Like, you just don't talk like that. So I'm like, hey, can you go get it? How about you go get it and you tell your mom thank you? How about that? She just spent $3 on that Gatorade. How about that? And then they'll come back, and before the game even starts, I'm lecturing him on how to talk to his mom. You know what I mean? That stuff there, that'll stick. Did it sting him a little bit? Of course. You know what I mean? Did I hurt his feelings? No, but he felt it. I said, listen, boys, I don't care how you talk to your parents when I'm not around. But if Coach Mel's around, that's not going to happen. I don't want to hear that. And it's funny because parents' reactions are like, hey, thanks, Coach, for saying that. I'm like, no, you should be saying that. You're their parent. You know what I mean? I don't have to say that. Like, get a hold of your kids. I'm kind of old school. We talk off camera, Hank. Like, I'm old school. Like, like, you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect mom. You're not going to disrespect, grandma or grandpa or aunts or uncles. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I was raised, And in my household, it was old school. My dad carried a heavy hand. Hey, you don't talk back. You do what you're told. You know what I mean? Like, that old school, that thing, it's a lost art. Nowadays, I'm hearing parents letting their kids make decisions. Like, hey, what do you want to eat tonight? What do you want to eat tonight? I'm like, a simple thing like that. What do you want to eat tonight? I'm like, damn, you're giving him the option? Oh, I want Chick-fil-A. Well, mom and dad were thinking more of like, I want Chick-fil-A. Oh, okay, I guess we'll settle for Chick-fil-A. I'm like, oh, hell no. That's never going to fly in my house. Oh, you're going to eat what we feel like eating. We're going to, by the way, we're going home and we're going to make something to eat. You ain't getting Chick-fil-A. All right?
Ooh, I remember well, you'll be hungry. I don't want that. Well, you're not eating then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in there. Look, it's in there. If you want to eat, it's in there. But if that's not what you want,
you don't get options. Yeah. If mom is making something to eat, you can't go, can I have a bowl of cereal instead? Oh, no, you can't. This is what you're going to eat, right? So, like, being raised that way, it's like, hey, we finished everything on the plate, And so kids nowadays are just so damn picky with their food, and I don't feel like this, and I don't want that, and I don't. Dude, you better eat that sandwich and eat that crust too. Kids gotta be peeling their crust. I'm like, you eat that. You eat that. That's bread. That's food.
That's part of the service.
A loaf of bread costs $6 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's part of the sandwich, dude. Give me that. Yeah, that's just some of that old school. Hey, there you go. We're on Parenting 101 out there, okay, guys?
Hey, right?
We're not talking about fish. We're talking about real life stuff here, too,
Years ago, I would take my lunch to work, and my lunches would always consist of leftovers, all kinds of leftovers, And the guys would ask me, what you got today? Well, I have a little this, I have a little that, because I was taught you're not wasting it, don't get more than you're going to eat. So if it's left in our refrigerator, I had it in a bag or some bowls, taking it to work for my lunch.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So, like, it's funny because, I'll have players come and spend the night over the house, right? And so when players will come, it's a treat for my boys. And seeing how they interact, I definitely let their parents know ASAP. Like, and I already know my boys' personalities that play for me. So I'm just like, hey, just want to give you a heads up. Like, Khalil, super polite, man. Very well spoken. Thank you, please. I just want to give you a heads up. I think it's super important for parents to know that. You know what I mean? Because that's a reflection on them, And so, of course they appreciate it. Thank you, coach. I appreciate it. And I'm like, no. But I know my kids, my boys are good. I know they're good. because
Yeah.
a lot of them I had since they're in the second grade, and now they're 16 years old. So I actually kind of coach them through their lives. I got to see them, playing with freaking action figures, and then it went to the video game stages, and then next thing you know, they're getting braces, and then their voices start to change, and they're going through puberty, and then next thing you know, they're talking about girlfriends, and I'm like, what in the hell just happened? You know what I mean? Like in the blink of an eye, these kids were like playing video games together. Now they're like, hey, you're going to the dance, or you going, hey, who are you taking to the dance? Oh, that's your new girl. I'm like, and they're all talking like this. And I'm like, I went from coaching them looking down to them, like to coaching them like this. All right, so I need you to go set a screen. You're going to come around. You're going to backdoor. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking up at these kids. They went from like, 4 foot to like 6'4". You know what I mean? Like 6 foot, 6'2", 6'4". It's like everybody's taller and bigger than Coach Mel. So I had the honor and pleasure to coach these boys at such a young age, and for them to stay with me for so long, which is like going on 8 years. I think I coached for 12, but 8 years at a high level, and traveling, the country and playing different venues and teams, and it's super fun, man. I really love it. That's like, that's another one of my passions besides fish keeping. So like I said earlier, it's like my yin and my yang. I have the intense, stressed decision making, quick and coaching, and you got the whistles, and then I come home, and this is my quiet, my good place, my good feelings where I have my fish, and that's kind of like it's my balance. It balances me out. But yeah, that's your boy right there in a nutshell.
Amen. And on that note, we done hit the 2-hour mark.
Whoa, we went 2 hours, boy.
We done went an hour over. Look.
Hey, and we still got 24 strong in here, my boy.
Yes.
Hey, we did it, man. We did it. Look at the stream right there. Yeah, Metalhead earlier, he said that, he can vouch for me commenting. Metalhead's Aquatic Mayhem, you already know, man. See? I try to every single time. And if you even look at my old videos, man, I'll go back and comment, man. Even older videos, like you'll see an old video where I have time to go back and go look and go, oh, man, I missed this question. Boom. It may be a year later, but I'll answer it. You know what I mean? And some of them will respond like, oh my gosh, a year later, you just responded. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry, man. I was just going through some old comments.
I didn't see it.
I was going through some old comments and I missed this one. So yeah.
The ones that trip me out is like a video that was 2 years old that someone just saw, and they comment on it, like ask a question about the video.
Yeah, like it just happened last week. Yeah, it's like
I'm like, man, that was 2 years ago.
I know they're be like, I get that too. They're like, hey, what happened to that water feature out front? How's that going? Can you do a video on that? I'm like, dude, that's gone, man. Yeah, and they're watching that video from last year, which is hilarious. It's funny. It's funny, but I will answer it like it happened yesterday. I'll answer it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Oh, I don't have that tank anymore, or oh yeah, that fish I no longer have, or whatever the case may be. It's funny though.
Well, all right, bro. Thank you very much for coming.
Hey, man, I was honored. I want to thank everybody in the live stream too, man. I appreciate you guys. Just like Foxy Fishes says, when Mel says Ohana, he means it. I really do. Ohana. Thanks again, Big Hank, man. I appreciate you, my man. I'm glad we got to do it. Get some sleep, my man. Shoot, it's like it's like 1 a.m. over there now.
Is it? What is it? 12:34? Yeah, it's headed down. It's headed down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love you. I love you guys. Look at the chat. It's still going too, man. Still going.
Yeah, I got some good people over here. I got some guarantees over here. They all done fell in the house. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna get on y'all. Y'all were late though. But y'all made it. Y'all made it. Remember, y'all, podcast, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and Spotify. Either under my name, Garrick Alexander, or the Fishy Den, or Big Tank Hank. All three of those will work. Thank y'all very much. And for those checking out the replay, I'll say again, I appreciate you for coming through. I love y'all. Tell somebody else you love them and take care of those fish. We out.
Aloha.